Welcome to Nourish with Michelle Fox, your guide to living a vibrant life after 40. If you have ever struggled with consistency in your self-care or felt confused about how to truly support your body during this season of life, you are in the right place, my friend. Over this 8-part series, you'll hear inspiring, educational, and real conversations designed to help you nourish your mind, body, and soul so you can feel strong, confident, and fully alive. I am thrilled to share this 8-part series with my guest expert, Kimberly Cunningham. Kimberly is a board-certified nurse practitioner who has been serving Colorado for over 20 years. She brings a wealth of experience from emergency medicine to internal medicine to healthy aging clinics. And she's the founder of Cunningham Clinic. After recovering from a life-changing injury through hormone replacement therapy, Kimberly has dedicated her career to helping people look and feel better through functional medicine and aesthetics. She's also a published author, a faculty member at multiple universities, and a national trainer for BioT Medical and Allergan Aesthetics. Her passion shines through in every patient she serves. And before we dive in, I want to share an important note. I personally seek treatment from Kimberly at Cunningham Clinic, but nothing in these conversations is meant to diagnose or treat you. Please consult your own provider before making any medical decisions. So, let's talk about what it really takes to thrive in this chapter of life. Today, we've got the husbands. Oh my goodness, Steve. Steve, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be
Yes.
here.
I'm so grateful you're here because my main goal, and Kimberly's as well, and actually, we already know I cannot speak for Kimberly. She will have plenty of time to speak for herself. But when we were planning this, our goal was to help our community with relationships. We want to talk about how when a woman heals her body, how that affects marriages, how it affects our families, how it affects our communities. And who better to hear the real deal than from the men who have been walking through this midlife transition with both of us. So again, guys, welcome. To begin with, since you both are named Steve, I feel like we should do something creative so that I'm not like, hey, you, that's Steve. You guys have any nicknames that we should play with? Well, okay, now I'm nervous with this one. Okay, G-rated nicknames. How about that? And you know what? We're just gonna move on. I'll just point the finger. And actually, I am very excited and anxious to hear from the men. But Kimberly, why do you think it's so important to bring the men's voice into this conversation?
For any couple or any family, when one person is in distress, the entire unit is in distress. So if you have a sick kid or a sick spouse, and we know that when hormones fall around age 35 for women, around age 45 to 50 for men, that's a person living in a body that is sick and that needs medical attention.
Wait, say that for the people in the back. When you are sad and uncomfortable in your body, that is a body that is sick. That is what I just heard.
And needs
Oh my
medical
goodness.
attention.
Yes.
And when that happens, it affects everybody in the house. So I think it's important to bring the other people in the house into the conversation.
I love that. And so, my friends, this is I'm even losing track now, either 5th or 6th or 7th podcast that we've done now, but you've heard Kimberly break down the medical background, what we can do to make our lives and our bodies feel better. But I want to know from you, Steve, Kimberly's husband, Steve, what did you know about hormones before Kimberly even started her journey?
I think it would be hard to know less about hormones than what I knew about hormones.
Which I think is a typical man and woman for that matter, actually.
Yeah, I had a lot of misconceptions. What I really felt was that hormones meant testosterone.
Mm.
and that people who took testosterone were taking great big doses of testosterone to try to put on a bunch of muscle and go compete and get angry and have all these weird side effects. And my biggest misunderstanding was that there are levels of testosterone that are optimal and healthy that aren't the kind of massive levels of hormones and anabolic steroids that some of these people take. So when I first heard about it, I completely misunderstood it.
No, that's fair. Did you have a similar?
Yeah, I'd say very similar. Like I go back to middle school, junior high school, when you learned about hormones, testosterone and estrogen, and that was about the extent of it. It wasn't until I started questioning my doctor and exploring it myself that it's, oh, here's the proper range to be in, or insurance will only cover it if you drop below this level. But I never even really considered it.
Yeah, I think that's very, very normal. As far as bringing it home and bringing it a little bit more personal to you all's experience, I'm so anxious to hear Steve Cunningham's experience with Kimberly Cunningham's experience. And so before we jump into that, I want to know from my Steve, like, when did you first start noticing or having oh, something's up with Michelle, like her body's changing, maybe her mood's changing. What were some of the things you started noticing a few years ago?
Yeah, and it's a few years ago. I think this was probably a 5-year journey. You're in corporate world and you just knew something was off. You started, it was the lifestyle changes. And as Kimberly just mentioned, like the rest of the environment changed. We were the diet, the exercise, and that impacted all of us in the house. And it wasn't until you took time off of corporate America and did your own thing with your nutrition and exploring different herbs and diet solutions. And it was, I could tell the irritability, or I would get irritable with 1 week it was this, next month it was on this diet. And there was so much trying to explore and find a solution. And you wanted more of a, the magic pill in a sense.
Because I felt so desperate. I remember I was trying keto, which we've learned through Kimberly on this podcast. Keto is one of the worst things you can do, but I saw some girlfriends doing it and they were losing the weight and I was gaining weight. And I'm like, why is this not working? So we did the keto and cleared the house of things. And you're like, this is gross. And then it was clearing out all the sugar. And then
Not the sugar. You had the mushroom coffee. You gave up coffee.
oh, that's right. I tried to get off of caffeine.
Yeah, there was so many just trials and errors. It's kind of like, hey, here's all the vitamins and diets or food that I'm on, and trying to find that one that caused the allergy. And so you were cutting this out and then going to nothing and just slowly adding stuff back, trying to find what would just give you that stable position where you felt comfortable in your body.
Including like the hot flashes at night. Do you remember that? I'd be waking up in pools of sweat and kicking covers off. And
I enjoyed keeping it cool in the room at night. Now
That
you're
is
back
true.
to
You
wanting
do
to be warm. Yeah, you were on progesterone, estrogen, some ointments all along the way from different doctors, just trying to find that solution. I mentioned just the eye rolling. I'm like, okay, here's another idea. Let's try it. I knew you were just at your wits end. You wanted a solution.
I really did. And I know, Kimberly, your story around hormones, very different than some of us that come into menopause, relatively natural, if that is even a concept. But for our listeners who haven't listened to our first episode where we saw the huge screws that were in this tiny body, please go back, listen to that, or watch it on YouTube so you can actually see the screws. But Steve, I'm so curious, like, what were some of the things that were going on for you when you were watching your wife suffering?
My suffering was nothing like her suffering, but it was definitely a helpless feeling and frustration. One of Kimberly's big challenges was getting properly diagnosed, as well as getting what she needed to recover from all of her surgeries when she did get diagnosed. It was definitely a helpless feeling. I would take her to doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment because, of course, she couldn't drive. And I would sit there in the appointment, always with hope, thinking, oh, maybe we're going to find the doc who really understands things and is going to give us a good answer. And appointment after appointment, we just weren't getting it. And for Kimberly, every time she got in and out of the car, it was a lot of discomfort. And getting up through the elevator to the doctor's appointment, I just could see it's extra suffering to go make time to do this and go through it, and just couldn't find the right diagnosis or the right advice to make a change. And then we would go through a variety of therapies to try to help. And a lot of these, getting there was painful, but then the therapies themselves are very painful.
Yep.
It's frustrating to see that, agonizing for Kimberly. Very helpless for me. But looking back at all this now, it's just anger. We're grateful that Kimberly eventually found the right doc who really knew his stuff and was able to give the right diagnosis. And in that first appointment with that doc, he looked at us and said, "Oh, I'm going to have you walking again, and we're going to fix this," which was the answer we were waiting so long to hear. And it happened within kind of 15 minutes of an exam and a verbal discussion with Kimberly. So that was huge. But Kimberly's path to mobility again involved a series of many surgeries over a couple of years that really tax your body on how to recover. And her recovery was slow, and it was expected to be slow. She discovered, oh my gosh, my hormones are out of balance. Testosterone levels are too low. I'm going to try this hormone replacement therapy. And she, for me, that was amazing. She turned the corner. It was weeks later. Her mobility was back to an extent that I hadn't seen in a long time. And her recovery, her ability to recover just shot up, which was fantastic. But what makes me angry now is this is a period of years that we really lost because we didn't know that therapy was available, that how important it was to have your hormones right when you're trying to recover, when you're trying to heal, when you're trying to have optimal health. And it's just, if one of those docs had said, hey, maybe we should check your hormone levels and give your body every chance to recover as fast as possible, or if we had just learned about it sooner and there was more discussion about what was available to recover faster, we lost years. And it was tough years. Really tough years. Yeah, it's a dark period for sure when you spend that long. When you're somebody like Kimberly, who's a type A, a go-getter.
Of course, to have to sit still.
Yes, being in a wheelchair for that long is tough on anybody, of course. So it's what I feel now is just anger.
Of course.
We've lost years. We got it. We were lucky. We got the diagnosis. We got the surgeries that she needed. We got her health optimized, and now she's hiking 14ers and hiking up Machu Picchu and doing all these great things and
shaking her booty in dance class with me.
So I'm thankful that we have all that.
Oh, I love that. And I'm still gonna push a little bit though, because Kimberly was sharing with us just how lonely it felt for her for those 3 to 4 years of not being able to really hold her babies the way she wanted to. You guys had little children during this time, and then obviously not to be able to have the intimacy with you because her body felt like it was going to break at any moment. Can you speak to maybe some of the loneliness you may have felt as a partner?
Oh, sure. But it doesn't really feel right because it's nothing compared to what Kimberly was feeling. I could leave the house. I could go to work. And we're fortunate that we had a nanny to help look after the kids. So a lot of things we were very fortunate to have.
And still.
Still, we're very blessed people. We're very blessed people. And the toughest part is knowing what Kimberly was going through. But sure, for me, I think the husband wants to put on a Superman cape and come in and help. And there's nothing that I could do. And it's a completely helpless feeling to just see the suffering and know all I can do is be there and hold her hand and smile and try to be patient. It's a tough time. Yeah, it was tough for both of us. But certainly what I went through is nothing like what Kimberly went through.
Oh, you have such a huge heart. Oh, I love you two together.
You guys picked good ones. He looks good in a Superman cape, by the way.
It's super sweet. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I hear you saying that you were angry that you didn't have the information before. So I'm curious because I want to hear a little bit more because I have a feeling you hear a ton being married to this one now that Kimberly's done such a deep dive with a hormone replacement and all of the things. What about you, babe? Like the things that either you've learned from me, the things you've learned from Kimberly. You're also a deep diver, so I know you've done your own research. What are some of the positives that you might share with either other men, other women? Like what would you want other people to know about hormone replacement therapy?
Yeah, I'm sure, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm sure that you heard every time people go on it, I wish I would have done this sooner. And I'd say that for myself. I'd say that for selfishly for Michelle. I wish she
Selfish,
would have
that's
been on
very
it
real.
earlier.
Wish that for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's that feeling of helplessness, right? And it's like you said, you could get out and do things. And you felt it's almost like you were trapped, like
Oh, I
helpless,
was a
like there,
prisoner.
you lost hope in a sense.
I know I
There were
did.
some days, yeah.
And to witness that, and we felt helpless too. Like if we could fix it for you, we would do anything to fix it. And how our relationship, I don't want to say bounced back, but just grew. I think there's a lot more intimacy going through that process than the lack of intimacy from that process, if that makes sense to you. I would say, even in conversations with a couple of my other friends my age, they're hesitant to do it. And I'm just like, just do it, you won't regret it. And I would give that advice to everybody. I think it's remarkable seeing the change in Michelle. I know you went through medical issues. I always refer to it as an asparagus, but
Yeah, had my asparagus removed.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
what
funny.
my daughter called it. She said, "Mom, I think she was maybe 12 or 13, and she couldn't say uterus, or maybe she didn't understand uterus, but she's, oh, you had your asparagus removed." I'm like, yes, mommy had her asparagus
I love
removed.
it.
Yes.
But just the recovery from that. I know you've had back issues and aches, and I think a lot of that has gone away. It still occurs here and there, but it's not as the severity of it has diminished.
Just for clarity, that was about 8 years ago. So there was about 3 to 4 years of suffering since then, because that's what really threw my hormones off. And that was the time that I was gaining the weight, even though I was working out. I was doing all the things that I was preaching as far as low sugar, low caffeine, gluten-free. And I still kept getting larger and larger and more uncomfortable in my body. And what you were saying, yeah, with the intimacy, like I was trying to figure it out on my own, and our conversations were a little stifled because like you didn't want to offend me, I didn't want to offend you. But once we found Kimberly, it's like the testosterone almost spoke for itself as, oh, I want you, you want me. Let's figure out the rest of the stuff later. Thinking that way. Testosterone is a marriage saver,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah. And I think overall, just with the kids being in the household,
Mm.
right, and seeing the energy and the lack of irritableness, more of the contentness, the happiness.
Oh yeah, they've even
It's-
commented on both
It's
of
that
our
environment.
moods.
They roll their eyes all the time at us.
Because we're flirting with each other.
Yes, yes. In public, at home, they're like, here they go again. But
And also, just to be super clear, are you okay sharing that you're also on HRT?
yeah, it's been remarkable for me, and I think it's complementary. Like right now, our cycle time of when we get replenished
pellets.
our pellets, we can tell if you're off and I'm off. If we both have it at the same time, it's clockwork. But yeah, it's noticeable when it's like you're coming off of yours and I just got my pellets replenished. And
I
so
agree.
It's a little bit of a waxing and waning, but we try to keep it as steady as possible.
yes.
Hmm. And Steve, like you probably hear so many stories. I know you're amazing at keeping client confidentiality, but the stories that you do hear, I'm just so curious. Is there a theme that you hear, or that you even see with your friend group or conversations you have around whether it's a man thinking about getting HRT or a female or couples that you can look at and just know automatically like, they probably need my wife's help. Does anything stand out to you?
Well, first, you're right that Kimberly never tells me anything about who she is seeing in the clinic.
Yeah, she's amazing.
It'll be a surprise to me because one of my friends will say, yeah, well, I saw your wife this morning and such. And I was, okay. She was at the clinic this morning. All right. So that's why I would have no idea unless they did something like that, or unless they shared stories with me about how much better they're feeling, how much more energy they have, how they're losing weight, how they're hopeful about things like hair loss, how they're seeing results at the gym better. It's rewarding to hear all the stories come back. And other stories from Kimberly too. She'll tell me stories about another day where a patient cried and hugged, and I got the tear stains on my uniform today from another day that was really rewarding. So it must be super rewarding for Kimberly. It feels great to me to hear when our friends report back that they're feeling better, that wink, things are better with the relationship with the wife, things like that.
Love
So
that.
yeah, I'll hear about it in spring.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably hear more about it than most.
But you get to hear the stories,
Because-
but you don't get to know the names or anything about them. I just tell you random patient's X today.
Correct.
Yeah. No
Right.
identifying
But
measures.
somebody cried
Somebody.
on my shoulder. Right. Yes. I didn't even get male or female.
I won't even tell them gender.
Okay.
That would be tough for me because I am nosy as I'll get out.
Oh,
Like,
there's-
really, no, really, just tell me. It's us.
I do have an update from the story from my first book.
Please tell us.
So in my book, I still treat both of them, treating a man and a woman who they referred to each other as the love of their lives. And they had gotten divorced, and it had been about 15 years, and they both found me through like degrees of separation. And they both came in and started fixing thyroid was off, no vitamin D, hormones were completely gone for both of them, and had dropped off around the time their relationship fell apart.
Interesting.
And so in my book, I talk about this couple and how they don't know that each one of them sees me.
Yep.
And they have reconnected. And they're all excited, but don't tell the other one. And I'm like, I can't anyway because of patient privacy.
Of course.
And so I wanted to, and I always had to watch their appointment times.
To make sure that
They
they didn't
cannot
see each
sit
other at the same time.
The update is they have figured it out and they're getting remarried.
Yes, yes.
I know.
Yes, that is
So
the
we'll
best
see.
success story.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
you
So I
know?
like, I love that. I absolutely love that because they're happy
Mhm.
and they
And-
feel good and they're with the person they were supposed to be with.
And
And I
you-
just found that out last week.
Like, I know we've been talking about it this entire series, but
Yeah.
for the people who might just be tuning into this series because they're so curious about our two hot husbands, can you break it down a little bit about the medical part, specifically with that couple? Because I think that speaks to a lot of how our bodies respond and react to HRT. What was the medical piece going on for those two?
For each of them, I'll just rewind a little bit. Women and menopause is really well known. That's when you stop getting a period, and that is when the estrogen completely falls off a cliff and is gone. So the estrogen withdrawal is menopause. And for most women in the United States, that's around age 50. But what people aren't taught in the middle school health class that you mentioned earlier is that testosterone for women is going to fall off in the United States around age 35, and it falls off a cliff. And so when testosterone falls, there goes your mood and your sex drive and your ability to build muscle and bone and connective tissue. It's one of the believed reasons why women look older faster than their male counterparts. And we don't meet back up until about age 65. Testosterone in men starts to fall typically around age 40 and then is off a cliff by 50.
Okay.
So they lose their testosterone about 15 years later than we do.
Got it. Okay.
So when the women's testosterone falls off, that is an independent risk factor for depression, anxiety, fatigue, chronic pain, all the diseases of inflammation, diabetes, arthritis, cancer, all of the things are associated with the testosterone deficiency. For this particular couple, they both also had no vitamin D and a vitamin D deficiencies
Our
are
sunshine.
about 85%
Vitamin.
of the population of the United States does not have enough vitamin D.
Ah, so dangerous.
And it's believed to be our endocrine disruptors.
Mm.
One of the biggest endocrine disruptors is sunscreen.
Ah.
So if you put sunscreen on your face, you don't get wrinkles, and then you go out thinking you're going to get vitamin D synthesis in your arms.
Mhm.
The sunscreen you put on your face impedes vitamin D synthesis for 24 hours, no matter where you get sun.
I did not
So
know
you
that.
could get a tan, but that doesn't mean you're getting vitamin D synthesis. There's also something about our latitude. So where we are on the globe,
Okay.
this latitude, or the horizontal line on the earth,
Mhm.
worldwide has a lot of vitamin D deficiency and an increased risk of multiple sclerosis and other autoimmune processes.
Mm.
So something about the angle of the sun isn't great in Colorado. And lots of theories about that as well. None of those actually matter as much as, did we test and did we replace what's missing? And then thyroid, which was off for both of these, the two people in the couple that I
Mhm.
mentioned, the ability to convert from inactive, which is what your thyroid makes, to active, which is what your body needs. These enzymes required for that conversion really fall off between age 40 and 50.
Okay.
And low thyroid functionality, not hypothyroidism, which is a problem with the gland, but low thyroid functionality, which is a problem with the system.
Mhm.
50% of Americans by age 50 have that.
Mm.
And it's a few more lines of test to discern that.
And that
And
often causes depression.
It's an independent risk factor for depression
Okay.
and weight gain
Yeah.
and constipation
Yeah.
and fatigue and brain fog and all of the old itis. For
Two
us,
of them are feeling crappy like that. Of course, they're gonna not want to be together. They probably don't want to be with anybody.
they're just miserable.
But then once you fix
Yeah.
it, it's, I'm feeling good. Like I can see a little bit.
And they found their way back, and they finally figured out that they both see me, and it was really great last week. I know, I'm really happy.
Oh, she should be amazing. And Steve, back to you. I'm so curious, like with the stories you hear and watching her journey, like I'll just make an assumption. I'll say, how has any of this affected your own health journey? Like I would say even in the past 10 years, let's say.
So essentially, when I started hormone replacement therapy, it was after watching Kimberly's terrific response to recovering from her surgeries.
Mm.
And I would characterize myself at the time, almost 10 years ago, as having no symptoms.
Okay.
I realize now that I probably was having some symptoms, but I would characterize it as, well, this is what happens when you're 45 years old.
Sure.
This is what I would expect. And that's what I would hear. I would go to, every year, I'd go for my annual visit to my primary care physician, and there would be no diagnoses. And you'd say, how are things going? Well, I would say, I wish I was sleeping a little better and losing some strength at the gym and seeing my energy levels come down a little bit. And the answer from the doc was something along the lines of, yeah, welcome to age 45.
Yep,
That's
part of aging.
That's completely normal. And
Yeah.
he would give me advice like, you might want to try like the Mediterranean diet.
I think you got that advice.
Yes, I hear that all the time, which I think has been proven to be good if you're at risk for heart disease. But it feels like just somebody feels like they have to say something.
Mhm.
And from this primary care physician, who's pretty close to my age,
Mhm.
I think his advice would be much more effective if he himself wasn't overweight and sluggish and seems to be completely lacking joy. So I'd hear advice like that, and it was just kind of, yeah, I guess this is what we live with. So when I started on HRT, I didn't realize the difference between this is what we live with and you can have more optimal health.
Yes.
I really had no idea, and I probably should have started sooner, but I wouldn't call myself symptomatic at that time, at least. It was like, I probably felt like every other 45-year-old guy. The difference came a couple months later when I saw, oh, wow, my strength is coming back.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, I can do more at the gym, and all of a sudden, I'm sleeping. Yeah, I'm sleeping better. How about that? How did that happen? And then it all builds, because then you have more energy, and then it's easier to get to the gym, and then it's easier to prioritize your health. And I wasn't counting how many tomatoes I was eating, thinking that was going to have some kind of impact. I was really finding that the health just built and built.
Mhm.
And I should have started it sooner. is probably what I should have done. And I think it's easy to wait until you're completely symptomatic and really dragging and really going slowly. So I still feel great. I don't go to the gym all that much, but I go to the gym less than I went 10 years ago
Oh,
and
interesting.
have strength that's better than it was 10 years ago.
Amazing.
And I find it's very easy to control my weight. I find my energy levels are great. I'm more aerobically fit than I was at the time, for sure. I coach my son's high school mountain bike team, can keep up with the kids. My ability to mountain bike is definitely better than it was 10 years ago. So it's great. It's
So you're stronger a decade later, at a time when most Americans are aging fastest.
or I'm just as strong and going to the gym less. Is another way to say it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the bike, you're stronger.
I am stronger on a bike.
Yeah,
now,
and 10 years older.
absolutely.
So that's
incredible.
a win.
Yeah, and it's easier to go jump on the bike when you've got energy and you're sleeping well and you're productive because you're sleeping.
Rested.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now for like timeline, when do you want to start checking all the things that I check in my functional medicine practice? So really 35 for women.
Okay.
And between 35 and 40 for men is when we want to start getting the labs that I get that are different labs. There are more labs than what's currently recommended in the United States for an annual panel. Or younger if someone is symptomatic. Okay. So symptomatic of low testosterone would be joints that are easily sprained or dislocated or too wobbly, a lot of pain, chronic pain, diseases of inflammation or conditions of inflammation. I might check a younger person, or if he or she is doing all of this work at the gym and getting no muscle gains, then we really want to make sure there's testosterone on board so that you can actually get what you're hoping to get out of those visits to the gym or the trainer or whatever your sport is. So if that stops, I'll check on a younger person, but typically age 35 and older for women, around 35 to 40 for men, but younger if they're symptomatic. And it's a once a year, let's check, let's see how you're doing. So as soon as those numbers start to fall off, we can talk about how best to replace them so your body can work.
Perfect. Now, our story is just a little bit different as far as time-wise, because it sounds like you started HRT first and then your hubby followed.
Pretty closely after,
Okay.
within months.
And for us, Steve actually started first, and then I'd probably say 6 or 7 months later, because even at the time you started, I still was like, that's weird. I don't know if I trust this. But then I saw how his confidence improved, and I won't even speak. Can you actually speak to a little bit of what you noticed during that time?
Yeah, and I think Steve said it really well. Although I didn't benefit from the hair improvement. For myself, I started maybe a year and a half ago, and I was getting sports injuries. I wasn't sleeping well and fatigued, and I went in to get treatment on some of my joints, and there's not much we can do. I ended up getting some PRP injections, but even going to my primary care physician, very similar. You're just getting old. This is just part of it. There's no solution. And that kind of started a lot of my journey with, let's find out what it is. You mentioned brain fog. I ended up getting tested for allergies, and it came back for allergies to avoid some of the brain fog with the gluten. I have a number of allergies. So it was just my own health exploration of really owning it. And like you say, trying to find that one doctor that had the solution or saw something. It's like, hey, let's just run this test to give that explanation, to give you hope, as opposed to, sorry, there's nothing we can do. 45, 50, that you're just old. And now it's just a number because I feel like I'm 35.
Look like you're 35.
And same physical results, right? I'm going to the gym. I'm stronger and in better shape and condition than I was back in high school or college. I think there it was just natural happened. Now I'm more focused and deliberate with being healthy. So I think that's one of the biggest changes. But taking that on at our age and getting the results is really rewarding when you put that time in and being deliberate with it. The benefits, it's been the sleep. It was no problem falling asleep, but it was staying asleep and waking up multiple times. Now it's you sleep through the night, the aches and pains, the recovery time from physical activity, the energy level. And I think I remember one of the injuries was I was playing catch with my son and my shoulder started hurting. And I was like, just the simple things. They're like, yep, that's just your body breaking down. You're getting old. No, I think it's just the overall delivery of a quality of life.
Yeah.
That's,
No, it's been a game changer for us. And wow, I'm looking at the time and we have to go, which lucky for me, we are going to continue to double date. So I love that. And believe it or not, community, we don't talk about HRT on our double dates. There's probably other things we can continue to talk about. But before we go, is there anything that you all want to add as we close out? Is there anything that you can say to somebody who might be on the fence of taking care of their health to perhaps push through and to continue to ask the questions and to do something to improve and to feel better?
I think it's take action, right? You can sit behind, you can scroll through your phone, you can scroll online, look at all these opinions that might be one person's experience, but taking ownership of my own health journey, whether it was going to testing for allergies, getting a CT heart scan, and getting the PRP, and then everything led to the HRT or the hormone replacement therapy. It's whether you choose to follow through with it, come visit Kimberly and get tested, see what your testosterone level is at. Have that one-on-one discussion with a professional, as opposed to relying on what you hear on social media. I think there's a lot of scary stories out there, but you got to find out what works for yourself.
Love that.
Yeah, I think I wish that I knew everything I knew now 10 years ago. And some of it we've just been discovering. But what Kimberly does is really about healthy aging, and it goes far beyond just hormone replacement therapy. And what I know now about some lifestyle changes, some of the supplements that are just right for me based on my blood test, some of the things with my thyroid health, things outside of hormone replacement therapy, some of these new breakthroughs that are coming through that Kimberly loves staying on top of, constantly reading, constantly scrutinizing and skeptical, and only picking what really is proven to work is great to see. And it's been a huge benefit for me. And so I wish I knew more about, oh gosh, I should be eating more protein, and it should be thinking about my protein quality. And I wish I had started this supplement earlier. And knowing what I know now is fantastic. I just wish I knew it earlier.
I'm so with you.
And you had we were talking last night, and you said something really great to me. You said that what you always wanted and what you get now is that you have a team that treats you like an athlete, not a 55-year-old expected to be old. And I love that, because that's how I read your numbers, and that's how people in functional medicine are going to approach your labs, because this is a range, right? There's a range, and that range is expected. That's what we expect to find in a 55-year-old man. And technically it's what we expect to find in a hospitalized 55-year-old man. That's the range. So when you're outside of that range, that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong or abnormal. It means, what are we going for? Are we looking at that number like you're an athlete? And so when I look at labs and when I look at numbers, it's how does that compare to a 35-year-old athlete version of the person sitting in front of me? And you were talking about that last night, that was really, that you're finding a new primary care provider, actually, because you want somebody who's going to treat you like an athlete and measure you like an athlete. So I thought I like that. Because that's what I do.
Powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So my friends, if you too want to start feeling like an athlete and you're not there yet, I'm already going to tell you, we want you calling or reaching out to Kimberly Cunningham. If you're not in Colorado, of course, we'll put resources in the show notes.
And how to find somebody who has my same certifications.
That's right. And would they call you and you give them a referral, or is there like a website link that we?
So there is
They go
a
to-
website, biotmedical.com, where
Okay.
you can find BioT, which is a hormone certification.
Okay.
And that's the training that I teach as well as I'm certified in. And so that's a place that you can go by zip code. And then other things to look for is functional medicine. So someone who has a functional medicine certification as well. There are other hormone certifications out there. There are a few other really well-known, recognized ones. I know the BioT method because I teach it. So that's the one that I know the best. So that's my bias because I helped write it. So I like that one. So that's a way to find somebody who's going to look at the labs like I do. And then that functional medicine certification is a more global looking at the body as how can I make you a 35-year-old healthy version of yourself, which is a very different lens than the Institutes of Medicine or the American Academy of Family Physicians, which really goes by, yes, I expect to find this in a 55-year-old man. Good luck. That's not good enough.
No, it's not.
We want to be as close to 35-year-old versions of ourselves as we can, and then stay there as long as we can. My current oldest patient is 89 years old.
Amazing.
She's doing
Amazing.
fantastic. She lives at home. She's independent. She drives a car. She's got a boyfriend. She's doing all the things that she wants to do with said boyfriend. She gets to live in a body that works. And how great would that be if all of us get to do that?
That is the prize.
Yeah.
That is the prize right there. And so that's a perfect segue because our next episode, we will be talking about confidence. It'll be the confidence episode, how to feel confident in your skin, and hint, hint, sleep has a lot to do with that. And so Kimberly's going to walk us through ways to get more sleep so that you can feel that confidence. So thank you all for joining us for this episode. Steve, Kimberly, thank you all so much for being here. I really, truly believe this is going to help a lot of people make some choices for their own life. And so thank you for your time. Thank you for putting your hearts into this conversation. I'm entirely grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much for listening to Nourish with Michelle Fox. Were you driving, folding laundry, or maybe walking around the neighborhood? Perfect. I've got you covered with show notes over at michellefox.com/podcast. When you're ready, you will also find resources to support what you've learned in today's conversation, plus a few health supportive freebies waiting just for you. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world if you left a review on whichever podcast platform you're currently listening from. Your support helps me continue my mission of building healthier communities. This 8-part series is my effort to help more women stop suffering in silence and start feeling strong, confident, and seen. I am grateful to be on this journey with you. Big love.